The night shift was usually quiet. Elena had grown used to the steady beeps of machines, the dim corridor lights, and the hushed voices of nurses passing each other with tired smiles. But ever since Ethan had been admitted, her nights had changed. At first, she told herself it was nothing, just another patient, another chart to update. But the way Ethan's eyes followed her when she walked in, the way his smile lingered a little longer when she adjusted his blanket, it unsettled her in a way she couldn't ignore. He wasn't the usual type of man she saw in the ward. There was something commanding about him, even lying in a hospital bed. His voice was steady, smooth, the kind that made her pause in the middle of her tasks. "You make this place less cold," he had said one evening when she came to check his vitals. Elena froze at his words. She gave a polite smile, forcing herself to focus on her clipboard. "I'm just doing my job, Mr. Ethan." But he tilted his head, studying her. "It doesn't feel like that. Not with you." Her cheeks burned. She quickly excused herself, but that warmth stayed with her long after she left his room. And night after night, it only grew stronger. She caught herself lingering by his door, listening to the soft murmur of his TV, wondering if he was awake. During her rounds, when she leaned close to adjust his foreline, she swore she felt his breath deliberately slow, as if he was savoring how close she was. She hated herself for noticing. By the third week, her resistance was cracking. Every glance became heavier. Every brush of fingers when passing him water felt like fire. Then, one night, it happened. She was tidying his bedside table when her eyes fell on a folded piece of paper. At first, she thought it was just notes, maybe something from a visitor. But curiosity got the better of her. She unfolded it carefully, and her heart skipped. 7 words stared back at her in bold, deliberate handwriting. "Meet me here. Midnight. Just us." Her lips parted in shock. She looked toward Ethan, but he only lay there, watching her quietly, a hint of a smile tugging at the corner of his mouth. He didn't say a word. Elena's throat was dry. She slipped the note into her pocket quickly, her pulse racing. All evening, she tried to focus on her duties, but the words haunted her. She knew it was reckless, dangerous even. She could lose her job. But every time she thought of ignoring it, her body betrayed her with the memory of his stare, his voice. By the time midnight came, her legs carried her back to his room as if she had no control at all. The hallway was silent, the hospital wrapped in a heavy stillness. She pushed open his door slowly. The room was darker than usual, blinds half open, city lights pouring stripes of silver and gold across the floor. Ethan was awake. Sitting up slightly, waiting. His eyes found hers immediately. "I wasn't sure you'd come," he murmured, voice lower than she had ever heard it. Her chest rose and fell quickly. "I shouldn't have." "Then why are you here?" The words hung between them, thick, daring. She stepped closer to the bed, her hands trembling slightly. I don't know." "Yes, you do," he said softly. His hand extended, brushing her fingers, lingering. That single touch sent a shock through her. The air was heavy now, charged. She couldn't think, only feel. His gaze was locked on her lips, and when he reached up to cup her cheek, she didn't pull away. The first kiss was featherlight, just a press of his lips against hers. But it was enough to break the dam. Elena gasped softly, leaning into him, and he kissed her again, deeper, hungrier. Her hands clutched at his hospital gown, pulling him closer as if she couldn't stand the distance between them. Ethan's hand slid down, brushing the curve of her waist, holding her there, not letting her escape even if she wanted to. "Elena," he whispered against her mouth, his lips grazing her jaw as he kissed lower, trailing fire across her skin. Her body trembled, her breath coming in shaky waves. She had never felt a touch like his, desperate, tender, and forbidden all at once. The sterile hospital room no longer felt sterile. It was alive with heat, pulsing with a fire neither of them could deny. She knew this was only the beginning. The room was quiet except for the faint hum of machines and the city lights slipping through the blinds in thin stripes across the bed. Ethan's lips had just left hers, but the electricity lingered, buzzing through Elena's skin. She was breathless, her pulse racing in her throat as if she'd run a mile. "Why are you here?" she whispered, though her body betrayed her words. She didn't pull away. If anything, she leaned closer. "Because you came," Ethan murmured, his voice low and rough, as if every word cost him strength but gave him power at the same time. His fingers trailed along her wrist, slow and deliberate, making her shiver. Elena swallowed hard, her resolve slipping. She was supposed to be the professional, the nurse in white shoes and crisp uniform, the one who never crossed the line. But tonight, lines were nothing but illusions. Their lips met again, slower this time, softer, but so much deeper. Ethan kissed her like a starving man tasting something forbidden, his hand finding the small of her back and pressing her gently against him. She gasped, and he smiled against her mouth, sensing her surrender. The scent of antiseptic mixed with the faint cologne that clung to his skin. Every brush of his lips against hers drew her further in, until she was lost. When his breath grazed her ear, whispering her name, Elena felt her knees weaken. "Ethan," she breathed, her hands resting against his chest. His heartbeat thudded strong beneath her palm. "Stay," he whispered. One word, but it was a plea and a command all at once. She should have left. She knew it. But instead, she let her hand slide up, her fingers brushing along his jaw, memorizing the shape of him. He leaned into her touch, his eyes closing, and for a moment, the hardened patient softened into something vulnerable, something desperate. The bed creaked softly as she sat down beside him, unable to resist any longer. Their shoulders touched, then their thighs, heat bleeding into one another. She tilted her head, and their lips found again in a kiss that grew hungrier with every second. Her fingers tangled with his, and he squeezed back, grounding her in that moment. His thumb stroked over her hand slowly, a rhythm that matched the pounding in her chest. The world outside ceased to exist. There was only this room, this breath, this heat. When his lips brushed down along her jaw, grazing the sensitive spot beneath her ear, Elena let out a soft sound she couldn't contain. Ethan froze for a heartbeat, then smiled against her skin, his breath warm and teasing. "You're trembling," he whispered. "So are you," she replied, her voice unsteady, betraying the storm inside her. They stayed like that, locked in an embrace that was as much about closeness as it was about fire. Every stolen kiss, every touch was a risk, but neither of them cared. Outside, the city kept moving, unaware of the forbidden world that bloomed in a quiet hospital room. Inside, time stretched, and the night grew heavy with heat, with unspoken promises, with the dangerous sweetness of two souls daring to break every rule just to feel alive in each other's arms.